Hello everyone! Earlier this year, I hosted an interactive tutorial for TASing Mario Kart Wii as a part of the multi-game TAS competition. The full uncut version of this tutorial was uploaded to my second channel, so if you haven't seen it, go check it out, there's a lot of good stuff in there. However, it's been over 11 years since the last full video tutorial on Mario Kart Wii TASing. And ever since making 2 comprehensive documents walking through everything, I've wanted to give everyone what they deserved. A fully fledged, multi-episode series covering everything from installing tools to making your first TAS and even going over some more advanced concepts and techniques. In this first episode, I'll be explaining how to install Dolphin Emulator and configure your settings. In order to TAS, there are 2 things you need. First, a ROM, which in our case is the MKWii game disk stored as a .iso file. And second is an emulator, which in our case is a custom version of Dolphin Emulator. This video will only cover the specifics of installing Dolphin since I'm assuming you already have the ISO. If you don't, check out this video by Arkintel, which I've linked in the description. It explains how to create a digital backup of a physical copy of the game, also known as ripping your disk. Once you have your ISO, make sure you have it saved in a folder somewhere easy to find. Now, head over to the Mario Kart Wii TAS Discord server and go to the Resources channel. Under Emulator/Add-ons, click on the first link, which right now is Dolphin Lure Core. This will take you to the current all-in-one pack. Download it, move it to a more useful folder such as Documents or Desktop, and extract it using WinRAR or some other similar program. With Dolphin installed, it's time to configure it. First, open the folder. Double check that you have a file named portable.txt. This should be there by default with the all-in-one pack. However, if for some reason it isn't there, right-click to create a blank .txt file and name it portable. Now, finally open dolphin.exe. If prompted, click More Info and run anyway. This is Dolphin. It isn't quite ready to use, but for the remainder of your time as a TASer, this is what you will be greeted with at the start of any TASing session. At the top are your buttons for drop-down menus, below those is the toolbar, and below that is the game list. Or rather, it will be once we configure the path. As instructed on screen, double-click the italicized text, and then select the folder containing your ISO. Mario Kart Wii and any other games in that folder should now show up. Next, in the toolbar, click on Config. Disable dual core and idle skipping. This will keep load times deterministic, which won't actually affect anything you do in time trials, but if you branch out to other game modes, it will prevent serious problems down the line. If it isn't already, check Enable Cheats. This allows gecko codes to work. More on those later. If you're using a PAL ISO, click on the Wii tab. Check Use PAL 60 mode. This will make your game play at 60 frames per second instead of the native 50 frames per second. If you aren't sure which region your ISO is, then head back to the main Dolphin window. Under View and select Columns, check Game ID. Every ISO has a game ID, and for Mario Kart Wii, you'll have one of 4. For PAL, it's RMCP01. We're done with general settings now, so in the toolbar, click on Controllers. Under GameCube Controllers, Port 1, make sure Standard Controller is selected. Now click Configure. Under Device, you can select your input method. I highly recommend you choose either your keyboard or a physical controller you can connect with a USB. Here, I've chosen to use my keyboard and have mapped out all the necessary keys for buttons, the control stick, left and right triggers, and the D-pad. One thing specific to using keyboard, which physical controller users don't have to worry about, is the modifier key. This is a special button which, when pressed, halves the radius of the joystick. This allows for what are called soft inputs, and requires the radius to be set to 68. Moving on, go back to the main Dolphin window. Under Options, click on Hotkey Settings. Once again, you can select your input method. I highly recommend, regardless of what you map to the controller, that you use your keyboard. Here, I've mapped out all the necessary keys for many important and useful hotkeys. I'll briefly go over what each of them do, so if you already know what they do, feel free to skip this section. Toggle pause will pause or unpause emulation when pressed. Stop will stop emulation completely, closing the game window when pressed. It will ask for confirmation, however, if you wish to bypass this, go to Config, and under the Interface tab, uncheck Confirm on Stop. Frame Advance will pause emulation when pressed. Each additional time it's pressed, the game will advance a single frame. To exit from Frame Advance, you can use Toggle Pause. Holding down Frame Advance will rapidly advance frames at a constant speed, which can be changed using the Frame Advance Decrease Speed and Frame Advance Increase Speed hotkeys, though you won't be needing these. Toggle Full Screen will bring you into or out of full screen when pressed. Note that this is not the same as maximizing your window using the button in the top right. Take Screenshot will capture the frame of gameplay on the frame the screenshot is taken and save it to the Screenshots folder, which you will find in the User folder inside your Dolphin folder. Volume Up and Volume Down will increase or decrease the volume of audio by 3% when pressed. Volume Toggle Mute will mute or unmute audio. Disable Emulation Speed Limit will fast forward emulation as fast as your computer can handle. Decrease emulation speed and increase emulation speed will decrease or increase the emulation speed by 10% when pressed. These hotkeys are the reason those frame advance speed hotkeys are useless. The remaining hotkeys we care about are the ones that fill up almost half the window: Savestates. Savestates are a snapshot of a specific state the game is in, which is saved to the State Saves folder, again in the User folder. The two actions that you can do with savestates are saving new ones and loading existing ones. Dolphin has 10 save state slots, so there are 10 save state hotkeys for saving to each slot and 10 load state hotkeys for loading from each slot. This is how most people use save states. It has the benefit of only taking one key press, but it also has its drawbacks. You are more prone to accidentally save or load, you have to remember the slot you're using at all times, and it takes up almost 2 entire rows of the keyboard. There is, however, an alternative two-step method which I and a few others use instead. There are 10 select slot hotkeys for selecting each of the 10 save state slots, and then singular save state and load state hotkeys for saving to and loading from whichever slot is selected. This, of course, requires 2 button presses, but fixes all the drawbacks of the one-step method. Whichever method you prefer should be the one you use. Finally, undo load state is a special slot which stores where you were before you last loaded a state, and undo save state is a special slot which stores the most recently overwritten state. With that, your paths, settings, controllers, and hotkeys are completely configured, and Dolphin itself is ready to be used. In the next episode, we'll be configuring Mario Kart Wii as I focus on gecko codes. Thanks for watching!